My name is Noah, and I live with my roommate Luca in a two-bedroom apartment that feels smaller than it is, especially when the air between us thickens with things left unsaid. He's the kind of guy who makes people nervous without trying. Confident, reckless, and always on the edge of inappropriate, but never quite tipping over. His laugh is loud. His eyes don't apologize. And he walks around shirtless so often, I've started thinking maybe shirts offend him on a spiritual level. I used to laugh it off. I used to tell myself it didn't matter. After all, I'm taken. Been with Tyler for 2 years now. Steady, sweet, safe Tyler. He brings me coffee in the mornings when we're together, tells me about boring work meetings I pretend to care about, and texts me, "Good night," like clockwork. But lately, those messages have felt shorter, drier, automated. Love you has become you too. FaceTime calls cut early, always with a promise to talk more tomorrow. There's always another meeting, another delay, another excuse. I haven't told him how lonely I've felt. Maybe I didn't want to seem needy. Or maybe I was afraid he wouldn't care. Which is how I ended up on the couch with Luca on a Friday night, the smell of beer in the air and an old video game blaring on the TV. He's trash-talking me like he always does, laughing every time I screw up a combo. "You're garbage at this," he smirks, nudging my thigh with his knee. "Come on, you said you used to be good." "Used to be," I grumble, flicking the joystick. "Unlike you, I don't spend my nights doing thumb aerobics." He grins. "Wanna make it interesting?" I know that grin. I should have said no right then. "What kind of interesting?" I ask. "If I win this round," he says, licking his bottom lip, "you do whatever I say. No questions. One night. My rules." I raise an eyebrow. "And if I win?" "I'll clean the apartment, top to bottom. And I'll wear a maid outfit." I laugh. "You own a maid outfit?" "Nope. But I'd buy one for the honor." That should have told me something. But I'm buzzed on beer and ego, and something in me, something petty and reckless, wants to play. "Deal," I say. The game lasts 4 minutes. I lose. Badly. Luca throws the controller in the air like he just won the lottery. "Yes. Yes, baby. You're mine tonight." I laugh nervously. "All right, fine. What do you want? Do I have to scrub your back, or sing you to sleep, or—" He leans in, suddenly serious. "Noah, I want you to sleep in my bed tonight." The room quiets. The laughter dies. Something tightens in my chest. "Dude," I say slowly, "what?" He doesn't blink. Nothing happens. No touching. No weird shit. Just you in my bed. Tonight. "Why?" "Because I want to know what it feels like," he says, voice softer now. "Just once." My mouth goes dry. I don't know what to say. My brain is screaming one thing, my body another. It's a stupid dare, a meaningless game, and yet, this doesn't feel meaningless. "You're serious?" He shrugs. "You don't have to say yes. I'll still clean the apartment if you chicken out." I hate that he says it like that. Like I'd be a coward for not doing it. And maybe I am a coward, because I say yes. Luca's room smells like cedarwood and something faintly spicy. His sheets are dark gray, smooth, and colder than I expected. I lie on one side, facing the wall, trying not to breathe too loud. He gets in next to me, casually shirtless, wearing only black sweatpants. The mattress dips under his weight. I feel the heat of him without touching. "This was a bad idea," I murmur. "Probably," he replies. We lie in silence for what feels like an hour. Then his voice cuts through the dark. "Does Tyler still make you feel wanted?" I flinch. "That's none of your business." He shifts. "Fair. But you didn't answer." I want to lie. I want to say yes. I want to say Tyler touches me like I'm sacred, like I'm the only man he's ever looked at like that. But I can't remember the last time Tyler looked at me that way. "Sometimes," I whisper. Luca hums. "That's not enough." I bite my lip. "Why are you doing this?" He moves closer. Just an inch, and his voice drops low. "Because you're here every day, pretending to be taken, but looking like someone who's starving. My heart pounds. My hands are cold. I don't say a word. Do you want me to stop talking? He asks. I shake my head before I can stop myself. And then, he doesn't touch me. Doesn't kiss me. Just lets that silence build into something that feels like gravity. I lie there, stiff and scared and aching, and all I can think is, what the hell did I just get myself into? Luca didn't touch me that night. Not really. But I didn't sleep. I lay there in his bed, every muscle tight, every thought unraveling. His breathing was steady, almost calm, like this was just another night for him. But for me, it was a cliff edge, and I was already leaning forward. At some point, maybe around 3 a.m., I turned over, just to look at him, just to see if his eyes were closed. They weren't. You're still awake, he whispered. Couldn't sleep, I whispered back. His voice was low, soft like velvet against skin. Too many thoughts? I nodded. I didn't know what I was agreeing to, just that it was true. He was close. Closer than he should have been. The air between us had changed, heavier now. Dense with something we hadn't named but both felt. Can I ask you something? Luca said. I hesitated. Sure. What's the wildest thing you've ever done with Tyler? My stomach clenched. Why does that matter? He shrugged, shifting so we were facing each other fully. Curiosity. You talk about him like he's perfect. I want to know if he ever made you lose control. I hated that question. Hated how it made me picture things. Slow, gentle sex that felt safe but rarely thrilling. Tyler was sweet, always considerate. But dangerous? No. Noah, Luca said, voice low, has he ever made you forget where you were? I looked at him. Really looked. Luca's eyes didn't flinch. His lips were parted like he'd just stopped himself from saying something worse. Or better. No, I admitted. His hand moved, slow, deliberate, and landed on mine. Just our fingertips, barely a touch. But my skin burned at the contact. You deserve that, he said. To be wanted like that. Don't, I breathed. Don't do this. Why not? Because I have a boyfriend. And yet, you're in my bed. I could have left. I should have. But I didn't move. His fingers traced the back of my hand. Not forceful. Not greedy. Just present. Like he was memorizing something he shouldn't be allowed to touch. I'm not trying to ruin anything, he whispered. I just want to feel what it's like to want someone who's right in front of me. I swallowed hard. You're playing a dangerous game. Luca smiled, soft and sad. No, Noah. You are. Then, slowly, so slowly it almost didn't feel real, he leaned in. Our lips met like a secret. It wasn't a hungry kiss. Not at first. It was searching, unsure, like we both knew this was a line being crossed, but neither of us wanted to be the first to admit it. I pulled back. My heart was hammering. We can't. I know. We shouldn't. I know. But I didn't stop him when he kissed me again. This time, it deepened. His hand slid behind my neck, pulling me in. My body betrayed me, leaning, opening, responding like it had waited too long for this exact moment. Luca kissed like he had something to prove, like he wanted to replace every soft, fading memory of Tyler with something scorching and new. And maybe, just maybe, I let him. Our mouths met again and again, breaths mixing, hands exploring in hesitant, trembling bursts. It wasn't graceful. It wasn't perfect. It was raw. It was reckless. It was everything I wasn't supposed to feel. He whispered my name like it meant something. Noah. Just that. And my name never sounded like that before. He pulled me close until there was no space between us. My leg slid over his. My hand on his chest. His skin was warm, firm. His breath ragged. And then, he stopped. Just like that. He pulled away, chest rising and falling, pupils wide. I told you, he said. You can stop anytime. I was silent. He waited. But I didn't move. I didn't stop him when his hands slipped under my shirt. I didn't stop myself when I whispered, Don't be gentle. There was a moment of stillness. One breath. Two. And then, like a wave crashing in the dark, it began. We moved with hunger that had been caged too long. I didn't care what I was breaking. I didn't think about who I was betraying. I just let go. The world outside his room didn't exist. There was no Tyler. No relationship. No label I could hide behind. Just Luca. Just this. And it was more than sex, it was the ache of wanting and being wanted. The desperation to feel something real again. Afterward, we lay there in silence. No cuddling. No words. Just breathing. I turned away from him, eyes open, shame rising in my throat like bile. What did I just do? I whispered. Luca didn't answer. He didn't need to. Because I already knew. Morning light felt like punishment. I woke up tangled in Luca's sheets, my legs still half-draped over his. His chest rose and fell, slow and calm, while mine ached with the weight of reality. My throat was dry. My mouth still tasted like sin. For one suspended second, I let myself believe it hadn't happened. But then Luca stirred, eyes blinking open, and gave me a slow, knowing smile. Morning, beautiful. I sat up fast. The sheet slipped off me, and I pulled it back to my chest like modesty could undo the night. This was a mistake, I said, voice hoarse. Probably, Luca replied, unapologetic. But not one I regret. I looked at him then. His hair was messy, his lips still swollen, his confidence a steady flame that refused to flicker. I hated how good he looked, how good he made me feel, like I hadn't just destroyed something fragile and important. I need to go, I muttered, grabbing my clothes from the floor in a blur of panic. He didn't stop me. He just watched me dress, calm and quiet, like he knew I'd be back. I didn't call Tyler that day. I told myself it was because I needed time to think. But the truth? I didn't want to hear his voice. Didn't want to lie to it. Instead, I spent the day spiraling. I scrubbed the kitchen until my hands hurt. I did laundry I didn't need to do. I avoided Luca, who stayed in his room, probably giving me space I didn't earn. When my phone buzzed around 5 p.m., Tyler's name flashed on the screen like a warning. Tyler, hey babe. I'm free tonight. Want a FaceTime? My fingers hovered over the keyboard. What was I supposed to say? Me, yeah. Sure. 9. Tyler, perfect. Can't wait to see your face. I stared at that message for a full minute. You don't know what I did. When 9 p.m. hit, I lit candles to soften the lighting, splashed cold water on my face, and put on a hoodie to hide the tension in my shoulders. I answered the call with the fakest smile I'd ever worn. Hey, I said. Tyler's face lit up. There's my guy. I wanted to cry. Instead, I asked about his day. He talked about work. Some pitch, some coworker drama, and I nodded like I was listening, but all I could think was you don't touch me anymore. You used to look at me like Luca does. And then, suddenly, Tyler said it. I booked a flight. Coming to see you next weekend. My heart dropped. What? I miss you, he smiled. Thought I'd surprise you. That's wow. Okay. Yeah. My brain screamed. Tyler coming here meant I'd have to look him in the eyes. Sleep beside him. Pretend like I hadn't cheated on him in the bed next door. The guilt crushed me like a vice. You okay? Tyler asked, watching me too closely. You seem off. I shook my head. Just tired. He paused. You sure? I nodded. But the silence stretched. He didn't believe me. I love you, he said after a beat. I froze. Because I hadn't heard him say that in weeks. Not like that. Not with feeling. I love you too, I said. It tasted wrong. Luca was in the kitchen when I came out, barefoot, arms crossed, sipping something dark from a mug. Good call, he asked. I didn't answer. Just stared at him. He tilted his head. Are we talking now, or still pretending last night didn't happen? My jaw clenched. What do you want from me? His eyes darkened. That's the wrong question. Then what's the right one? What do you want? I want this to go away. Luca stepped closer. You didn't say you wanted me to go away. My breath caught. Don't twist it. I'm not. I'm just not letting you pretend last night wasn't real. You were there, Noah. You didn't stop it. You wanted it. You still want it. I stepped back like his words burned. I'm not like you. He laughed, dry and bitter. No. You're worse. You lie to yourself. I wanted to punch something. Instead, I gripped the edge of the counter. This isn't some game, Luca. I'm in a relationship. He moved in, slow and deliberate. Then why did you give yourself to me like you've been starving? I didn't answer. I couldn't. You've been with someone who doesn't see you, he whispered, and you hate that I do. I shook my head. You don't know what you're talking about. I know this, he said. You'll never forget how it felt to be wanted like that. I closed my eyes. You said one night. That was the deal. And it was one night, Luca said, his voice low. But you can't put it back in the box, Noah. You already opened it. I turned and walked away. But the truth chased me down the hall. He was right. I didn't just open the box. I stepped inside. Tyler arrived Friday afternoon, suitcase in hand, smile sharp, arms wide open. I kissed him at the door. It was automatic, years of muscle memory, but it didn't feel the same. His lips felt familiar, but not right. Safe, but not alive. Like I was touching the ghost of someone I used to love. God, I missed you, he said, pulling me into a hug. I held him tight, not out of passion but guilt. A desperate, quiet attempt to convince myself I could still feel something. You look tired, he murmured. I laughed under my breath. I haven't been sleeping well. He kissed my neck. Then tonight, you're going to sleep better than you have in weeks. I smiled. But it was a lie. Because tonight, I'd be sleeping beside the man I betrayed, while the man I betrayed him with slept just down the hall. Luca stayed scarce that evening. I heard him leave around 7. Didn't say a word. Just keys, a door, and silence. Tyler noticed. Is your roommate around? No. He's out. Good, he smirked. Maybe we'll get a little loud. I forced a laugh. Dinner was takeout and red wine. We sat close on the couch. He touched my thigh like he used to, leaned his head on my shoulder like we were 19 again. I tried to relax. I tried to pretend we hadn't frayed at the edges. But the truth was blaring behind my eyes. I couldn't even kiss him without remembering how Luca's mouth tasted. How his body pressed against mine like we were made for ruin. When Tyler kissed me again, it was slow, deliberate. Familiar. But I didn't moan. I didn't melt. I just let it happen. We ended up in my bed. Clothes came off in practiced movements. He whispered my name like he thought he was claiming me. Like he believed nothing had changed. But everything had changed. I faked it. I faked it. The sounds. The heat. The climax. He didn't notice. Maybe because he didn't want to. Afterward, he curled against me, content, breathing deep. And I lay there wide-eyed, staring at the ceiling, wondering how the hell I'd become this person. The next morning, I found Luca in the kitchen, barefoot, back to me, pouring coffee. You weren't here last night, I said. He didn't turn around. Didn't feel like being a third wheel. His voice was cold. Detached. Like a switch had flipped. I thought we could talk. About what? He finally faced me. About how you played house with your boyfriend while pretending last weekend didn't happen? I swallowed. I didn't pretend. No. He stepped closer. Then what would you call that little performance in your bedroom last night? My face burned. You were listening? He scoffed. Thin walls. Bad acting. I clenched my fist. Don't do that. Do what? He said, voice rising. Call out the lie you're living in? I didn't respond. He leaned against the counter. I meant it, you know. That night. Every fucking second of it. And maybe I shouldn't have let it happen, but I did. Because I wanted you. Not out of boredom. Not out of convenience. I wanted you. I know, I whispered. He exhaled, shaking his head. Then why the hell are you still playing both sides? I stared at him. Because I don't know who I am without Tyler. Silence. There it was. My truth. Ugly and honest. Luca looked at me like he was seeing me for the first time. And maybe hating what he saw. I thought you were braver than that, he said quietly. I thought I was too. Later that day, Tyler found me on the balcony. Wind in my face. Phone in my hand. Heart somewhere between the two men I'd broken. Everything okay? He asked. I turned to him. No. He stepped forward. Talk to me. I did something, I said. Something I can't take back. His brow furrowed. What are you talking about? My voice shook. I slept with someone. The silence was deafening. Tyler didn't speak. Didn't move. Tyler, When? He asked, voice flat. Last week. He closed his eyes. His jaw clenched. Luca? I nodded. The words stuck in my throat. He looked away, like if he didn't meet my eyes, it wouldn't be real. Why? I don't know, I said. I was lonely. You were distant. We weren't us. That's not an excuse. I know. He ran a hand down his face. Jesus, Noah. After everything. I didn't plan it, I said. But I didn't stop it either. He shook his head. You should have talked to me. I tried. You were always busy. Always somewhere else. And he was here, Tyler said bitterly. I looked down. Yeah. He stood there, hands and fists jaw tight. Then he nodded once, sharp and final. I'm going to go. And just like that, he walked out. Luca found me later that night, sitting on the floor in my room, staring at nothing. He leaned in the doorway, arms crossed. He left. I nodded. Are you okay? No. He sat beside me, not touching, not pressing. Just there. You still hate me? I asked. No, he said. I hated the version of you that lied to himself. And this version? He looked at me. This version hurts. But at least he's honest. Silence again. Then I whispered, I don't know what happens now. Luca reached over, took my hand. Now, you figure out who you are without pretending. Without guilt. Without fear. I met his eyes. For the first time, I didn't flinch.